Annyeonghaseyo and good morning. Back on the rail trail here. It is a cool and misty morning. A little bit of rain. It rained a good chunk of yesterday, which ended up being a bit of an obstacle. But this morning I wanted to talk about two main things. What I realized at the palace yesterday and the struggle with giving in to temptations. So yesterday I went on this long walk. Strava ended up saying 8 miles and 3 hours of moving time. I started it at like probably 1 and ended it at like 5 or 6 or something like that. And I just wandered, just explored, wandered, and went to a couple cafes for lunch. And then I don't know how this happens, but I was just walking and there's this underground like tunnel, and it said there's like a shopping mall entrance in this direction. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll go down there. And so I walked down there, and then there were a couple more steps down into this like shopping mall. And it's not like your typical shopping mall. This is like, I don't even know how to describe it, but it ended up being like very local. I was the only foreigner. And it was a bunch of just like old Korean people selling their trinkets and clothes and kitchenware and just like everything under the sun. And it was just, it felt like I had uncovered a gem, you know? I just think about like, you know, all of the touristy places that everyone says you should go here and go here. And, you know, probably on none of those blog post articles are like that shopping, you know? So that was really fun. And I don't know, there's something that I like about maybe one, uncovering local authentic places, and two, just like being present and in it. And after that I walked to the palace, the main palace, the touristy palace that everyone says you should go to. Apparently it was built in 1395 or 1385 or something, like what? And so that was cool, but honestly it also felt just kind of empty. It was just a bunch of like open sand areas with like buildings in between them, and you couldn't go in to any of the buildings. But so basically you were just looking at the architecture of the buildings, and you could peek inside and look in the windows and whatever. And so I think what it was missing for me was like the context or the history or the like a tour, you know. And I did not get that, but I saw a handful of tours, and one of them stood out to me because I don't remember where I was, but I like walked up on this big tour group, and I was like admiring the door and like the roof, how they tile it. And I realized in this big group, it was just, and I don't know how to, with all due respect, and like, there's nothing wrong with being old, but it was just a bunch of old people. And I made that observation, And I was like, what am I doing here? You know? And it wasn't all old people like in the whole palace. But like my first thought was, I have so much time. Like I don't need a rush to be like, yes, to an extent, it's nice to do these things and to do these touristy things. But like, if I can do literally the exact same thing when I'm 70 years old, then I don't need to be in a rush to like jump on a guided tour and like, oh, I have to go to this palace. And it's like, I have so much time, you know? So I thought about that when I left for Europe last year. And one of the things that I was thinking about was like, what are some of the advantages that a young person has over just older people, you know? And one of the things was just like being able to walk forever, you know? I mean, I got very tired yesterday and I was exhausted after all of my walking. But I was like, you know, if I'm 70 years old, can I really be walking 8 miles for like all day? Probably not. And so that is the thing I should be doing now, you know? So, I don't know, there's a kind of, I don't know what you would call it, like life setup or prioritization or age bracketing. I don't know, I just made that up. Something like that. Where it's like some things in life seem to be better suited at certain times of our lives. And so maybe there's merit, there's value in trying to prioritize those things. I don't know, just something I'm thinking about. The other thing was, I don't think it's reached like critical stage, but just as I was at this cafe yesterday, and it was a Paris Baguette cafe. That's the name of it. And they have all these like baked goods and croissants and treats and pastries and sandwiches and whatever. And like you pick whatever and you put it on your tray and then you bring it up to check out. And this was at like 12 o'clock. I hadn't eaten anything, so I was very hungry. And I was like, I've been struggling so much to find good food places here to eat at. And something is just not appealing to me about these Korean like meat restaurants where it's just like you get a hot plate and you just get a whole bunch of meat and you just like sear it on the hot plate and then you eat it. I don't know. So anyway, I was standing there. Sorry. Still waking up. I grabbed a sandwich and I was like, it's not great. It was like a standard chicken something sandwich. And I was looking at all of the other baked goods. And I was like, well, there's a cookie here and there's a cinnamon twist roll. And there are some of these Korean things like I don't know what to call it. It's like a little mound with red bean paste. And there's this donut with like sugar on top. And I'm standing there like, I don't even know. I think it was the cinnamon twist that caught my eye first. I was standing there, I had my sandwich, and I was like looking at the other stuff, and I was like, well, maybe I could get something else. and I saw this cinnamon twist, and I felt that, I felt the feeling, the urge. I was like, that looks good. Like, let's get that. And then I was like, wait, hold on. Wait a second. It's like, it's basically a sugar donut. Like, why are we eating a sugar donut? And so I was like, let's go around to the other side and check out what else is around. And looking at the like chocolate cakes and the cookies, and I was like, I saw this like double fudge cookie, and it's just like this wave of like, oh my god, that looks so good. And I like reached out and grabbed it, and I like felt it a little bit, and it felt a little hard, and I was like, this is not gonna be good. So I put it back. Anyway, I grabbed this one of the little like dough with red bean paste, and I was like, all right, let's just do this one. It's not as bad as the others. And so I'm standing in line with my sandwich and the red bean donut thing. It's not really a donut, it's like a little, I don't know. The woman in front of me had gotten one of these. I wish I had a picture to show you. It's like a round donut, bigger than a donut hole. It's brown, has a little bit of sugar on top, and it's like it's called like a rice, like a glutinous rice donut or something like that. And I saw she had that, and literally immediately, I turned around, walked over, and grabbed one of those. And I think I was going with the idea of like, let's get some like Korean style Asian treats or something. And anyway, I ate all those three, but I could feel this sense of like, it's so hard to control. And I don't know, maybe the reason I wanted to bring this up was because I hadn't felt that strong of a sensation in a long time. And I don't know why. Maybe it was because I was hungry. Maybe it was because the longer I stood there, the more they appealed to me. But anyway, it didn't stop there. I went on my long walk, and then I went to dinner, and I ate at this dumpling place. It was super local, like back alley, hole in the wall type thing. I walk up, the guy just like straight up immediately says something in Korean, like this like full sentence in Korean, and I was just like, I have no idea what you just said, but there was this menu on the wall, and he was like pointing to it, and I was like, okay, and I picked out this combo plate, and then he says something else in Korean, and I'm like, I have no idea what you're saying right now, but it's okay. I literally waved my credit card. I was like, I think someone stole my cash, either that or I misplaced it, but I can't find it. So I literally waved my credit card, and I was like, is it okay? Because I don't have any cash. Anyway, it was good, but like not healthy, just like deep fried dumplings. And then after, I went to this Korean rice dessert place where, again, there's something about this like Asian, they put stuff in these like rice doughs or like glutinous rice dessert things. Anyway, they're really good. And I had this like mochi style thing with ice cream, or it wasn't ice cream, it was like a cream kind of thing in the middle, and this cake. And then I went and got another strawberry bingsu, and all through this, I'm hearing in my brain, I watched this actually the Brian Johnson Tucker Carlson podcast from the other day, where he's talking about, or Tucker asks like what foods would you just not put in your mouth at all? And he was like, pizza and donuts and I don't remember what else. He said fast food and something else. And I was like, I had pizza the other night. I'm literally eating donuts today. Like what is going on? So I don't know. Maybe it's a result of sleep. Maybe it's a result of no routine or purpose, or maybe it's a result of being more flexible, because I'm kind of more loose here in soul without like a direction. And I don't know but all I know is struggling with temptations of food and sugary things. I almost got a Tiger brown sugar milk tea thing, but I was like, oh my god, I'm just so stuffed and I've eaten so much sugar. I couldn't. So anyway, that's what I'm struggling with right now. But I do know that it is a finite period of time that I will be here, and so soon enough I will be back eating well again. But I also didn't work out yesterday, but I did walk for many hours, so I don't know how much that helps. But anyway, I'll see you tomorrow.